and Andy Lee is a great first. I think he may, but I think it's a hell of a fight. It's a great fight. I mean, and it was, you saw from the first fight, the lead into these fights on TV was a Running Rebel documentary. The first fight being a great fight led into the main event. It created a TV show. And I think I've talked to HBO, and they get it. They love the first fight. Ross and Kerry love the first fight. So we haven't really got into having. I got to sit down and talk to them. And I'm not saying I'm married to you, guy, but I want to put asses in seats this next fight. And I'm not going to be pushed into somebody who means nothing because he's perceived as a tougher fight. F that. At this point, I mean, not that. Look, Sergio wants to fight the biggest fights, but if there's not a big fight available, thank you.
Would Sergio ever compromise, or is still adamant about not going up to 68?
It's not adamant. I don't want to go up. He weighed 58 at the weigh-in. I mean, it's easier for him to go down to 54 than it is to go up to 68. And by the way, did you see the two guys? Here, let me just give you this. Cintron was bigger than him, literally. Even though Cintron could fight at 47, when they stood there, he was as bigger. Paul Williams towered over him. Pavlik towered over him. Zindjić was bigger than he was. And now because he's so good, I got to read nerds telling me I should go up and fight guys who walk into the ring at 180 pounds who are 68 pounds. No. Now, that being said, if late in 2012 or mid-2012 someone has emerged, say it's Andre Ward, and he's whipped through all these 68-pounders, and he's won the Super Six, and he's beaten Kessler, and he's beaten, Bute or whatever, and one guy standing, then you say, you know what, there's a shitload of money there. You go completely out of your weight class, because he should never be a 68-pounder. Never, truthfully. But if the money's, like my guy fought King Kong, and if the money's good enough, and there is one guy standing at 68 where it really is a statement, but I'm not moving up to 68 to make something difficult so nerds will be happy. I'm not doing it. And I say nerds affectionately. I'm a fan too, but this is about putting rear ends in seats. It's about the general public. With all due respect, Mayorga would have done a higher rating than Zindjić, but we know Mayorga was not.
Would you do
Williams isn't fighting him at all.
If Williams won?
There's nothing to talk about. I'm telling you that he's not. I've already had it. I don't think Williams right now, I hate to say it, I don't think it's that difficult to fight.
What about the Angulo?
Angulo's like in hiding right now. Can't fight in the United States. I mean, that fight's not happening in July. Now, Angulo gets his stuff together. Love to fight Angulo later in the year.
Would you do it in Mexico or no?
The money's right and the situation's right. I got to tell you something. I'm not so. Go ask Kerry Davis if he's so eager to go do anything in Mexico right now.
Would you have won Martinez in a couple of fights against Kirkland?
See, I don't want to. Why am I listening to Kirkland? He'll spend most of the last year in jail. He hasn't even fought. Why am I listening to Kirkland?
In a couple of fights.
Yeah, but telling them to stay out of the joint. All right.
You're listening to it because they want to build him up. So
all right. Well, guess what? He spent more time in the joint in the last year than in the gym. And right now, is he in the joint now or halfway? What is he doing right now?
I think he's out.
But you know what? If he doesn't get a real win, I mean a real win. I don't mean a set-up guy that he gets on an opening fight to knock out so that they can say I should be fighting him. If Kirkland beats somebody real, we'll fight him. But that's not the guy. It doesn't mean anything. Even Angulo right now, who's also in hiding, who can't fight in the United States. But I'd rather go to Mexico and fight Angulo because at least it means something.
I mean, that HBO is building Kirkland up. They want to
build him up all you want. What are you going to build him up? Go tell him to get a gun permit. Build him up. He's a degenerate. He's a degenerate. He goes to jail. He comes out of jail. He gets thrown right back in. And I got to sit here and listen to him? No, I'm not even mentioning his name until he has a real win. Then come to me and talk to me about him. We're not afraid of Kirkland. But why? I got to fight him because he can punch? Oh, wow, maybe you can land a lucky punch. No. Tell the guy to stay out of jail. All your commercials you did about what a great fighter he was a year and a half ago were for shit. Because all he did is go to the joint, not back to HBO. No, I'm not listening to Kirkland right now.
What do you really think about Kirkland?
I think that a guy with that kind of talent who can't stop playing with guns is a degenerate. That's what I think about Kirkland.
You just did a fight with Sturm with Ronald Hearns. How about him?
We would love to fight Sturm, and that'd be a big fight.
You think he would come over here? Or?
I'm going to talk to his people. I don't think he's going to come over here in July. I think, frankly, also that coming off the 5 fights we just had, it wouldn't be my first choice to fight him in July. I mean, there's a certain point in time, the man, it's very hard to get up for 5 guys, every one of whom is given a 50-50 or better chance of beating him, or that kind of chance. I mean, maybe lately it's changed. I mean, obviously, Zindjić, he was a big favorite, but Zindjić was very difficult. Zindjić probably, Sergio thinks it was the toughest fight he fought. and that includes the first Williams fight in terms of the physical nature of the fight and how difficult the opposition was. And he felt Zedrick really knew what he was doing. He was impressed by Zedrick, honestly.
Keep throwing names at it, like, the window of Chavez.
Chavez, we'd love to fight. We go to Mexico and we go to Chavez's mother's backyard, and they can put up stands, and we'll fight him in Mexico. And you could have you could have Chavez and his wife and Chavez Jr.'s sister as the three judges, because it's never going to a decision.
But you don't think?
No, you can quote me. You can do it. Love it. Anywhere they want. Go to any bull rink in Mexico. They can do it wherever they want, and they can pick the judges from among his family members.
There's been a lot of.
He's not going to do it. I mean, come on. No. I mean, right now, am I guessing Chavez will wind up fighting Powell Wolex? You know which fight? I'll be honest with you. In terms of competitiveness, it's a fine fight. Nothing wrong with it.
There's been a lot of talk.
And Chavez is fighting Zbik next, isn't he?
Who wants Zbik beats Chavez?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, why not? I mean, if he beats Chavez, he has a credential. I mean, I think Sergio would like to get the real belt back.
That doesn't help you for July.
No, but I don't need help for July. My guy's the star. Do you think Zindjirik helped the last promotion?
No.
I didn't sell 4,000. We sold 3,900 seats in a 4,000 seat room, basically. But Zindjirik didn't sell one ticket. It's my guy who's on the rise, and it's
I'm not so worried. I saw a couple of Ukrainian flags.
What?
I saw a couple of Ukrainian flags.
Oh yeah, we had a good. It was fun. We had a fun crowd. We had a fun crowd. There were Ukrainians there. There were Greeks there for Sonia. There were Irish there for Lee, and it was a fun crowd. But I really want to bring Sergio into the forefront as an attraction. He should be the face of HBO right now. Mayweather and Pacquiao are never fighting live on HBO again, ever. Who's the face of HBO boxing? It should be Sergio Martinez. And that's one of the things, Ross just had surgery. He's feeling better. He had rotator cuff surgery. But when Ross gets back, I'm going to sit down with Russ and Kerry and talk about that. He should be the face of HBO boxing. He's the guy likely to be coming back on HBO. Because I don't have any expectation that Bob's putting any of his guys near this guy. And honestly, I want to tell you something. I'm not criticizing Pacquiao. Pacquiao is too small for Sergio. Now, he's not too small when he's fighting a stooge, but fighting the best, Sergio's really a 54-pounder, but he's still the best middleweight in the world. And he's still much bigger than Pacquiao. And he's much stronger than Pacquiao. So I don't blame them for not doing that for him. But Cotto loses. That's why that fight's not going to happen.
So it says
Chavez loses. That's why that fight's not going to happen.
Whether you think he's 1, 2, 3, whatever, pound for pound.
I don't give a.
Well, the question I'm asking.
I think honestly, here's what I think. I think that right now, until he gets back in the ring, I think Floyd Mayweather is the best talent living who puts on boxing gloves. And honestly, I don't think Sergio and I disagree on that. I think Sergio would love the opportunity to show what he can do, but Mayweather's talent level is extraordinary. But Mayweather hasn't been fighting.
His boxing talent, the question I was getting at, the more I watch Sergio, he may be the best athlete.
Oh, he's the best athlete right now. He's the best athlete in the sport.
Boxing.
He's the best athlete in the sport right now. Period. I mean, he does things that, I watched the telecast for the first time, and Roy Jones, who I would have said is the best athlete as fighter I've seen since I've been in TV. I mean, since my years at HBO as a promoter. Roy made a comment on the air that this is the only guy I've seen that could do some of the things I did in my prime, which I really agree with. I mean, fighting a guy like Zindjirik and doing 3/4 of the fight with your hands down to make it a fight, to make the guy throw at you. There aren't guys that can. Pacquiao can't do that, as great as he is. Honestly, Mayweather is too little to try to do that against a really strong guy. I mean, he does things that I've never seen anyone do. I mean, other than a Roy Jones type of guy. His athleticism is uncanny. It's ridiculous. I mean, a fighter as athlete, Jermaine was a great athlete, and that's what made Jermaine Taylor's career. He was a great athlete. Jermaine wasn't anywhere near the fighter Sergio is. Sergio's a great athlete and a great fighter. And I think that's what makes him so singular. I mean, and also when you get in, I don't want to hear about Donaire. He's a midget. I mean, he's a great fighter. He's great talent, but he's a little guy. And it's, honestly, in terms of the public awareness, it doesn't factor in quite to the same level, even though I'm a huge fan of his. But if you're looking at the top three guys, I don't see how you can really argue that Sergio doesn't belong in that company. And frankly, I don't know how you can say which one's better than the other.
Look, do you have any indication that Sturm even cares about American exposure?
I think he's starting to care a little bit, and I think he wants to make a statement and fight a big fight here. That being said, he's also launched his own promotional company. And when you launch your own promotional company, you don't really want to get starched early in the existence of your own promotional company. And I can't imagine, I know I talked to Sturm's people before Sergio fought. I haven't spoken to them since Saturday night. But I can't imagine, with the reputation Zinzurg had outside of the United States, where the majority of European matchmakers thought that I was an idiot for letting the fight happen, and that Zinzurg could beat Sergio. I have a hard time thinking right this second that Sturm's going to run to the United States to fight Sergio after what he saw Saturday night.
Is it too expensive to put Sturm and Sergio on the same card? Like, say you get a summer.
I think it'd be a great idea, personally. I think it'd be a great idea.
Is it too expensive, though, do you think?
You got to ask them. I honestly, I don't think it necessarily has to be that expensive. What? Judd Duddy's retired. He's already learned. He's spoken at the press conference. He's not yet ready to do an interview. Yeah, but he's already studying. He's studying this week. He's going 3 times a week for an hour. I mean, he did his speech at the press conference in English. When you see him the next fight, he'll start answering some questions in English. But now he's out of his comfort zone. And also, I don't know if you've spoken to him. He's a very cerebral cat. So he doesn't really want to answer questions in 5 words in English, where he has an answer that's cerebral that he can't structure in English. He'll be speaking English for the purposes of like HBO promos and like a little speech at the beginning, at the end of a press conference. But he's not ready yet to give the kind of answers he wants to give in English.
Real quickly, Berto Ortiz, just a quick thought on the fight that we're here for.
The style is sensational. I mean, I think my guy's supposed to win, but Ortiz is as big as he is, and Ortiz punches as hard as he does, and whoever lands a bomb first has a chance of winning by knockout, and they both come forward and don't really take a step laterally or backward. I think it can't be a bad fight stylistically, so it's a fan-friendly fight. The other thing is, anyone who thinks Ortiz is a 40-pounder hasn't watched his career, and part of the reason why he looked like dog shit against Lamont Peterson is because he wound up gaining 18 pounds or 17 pounds between the weigh-in and getting in the ring. Obviously he was sucked down dry at that weigh-in, so he should be a better fighter in this fight than he was the last fight. I think Mike Jones would have been an easier fight than this, and I really mean that, because if you go backwards against Andre Berto, you're going to get knocked out. If you fight in retreat against Andre Berto, you're going to get hurt.
Is this the biggest puncher Andre's faced?
I think so. I think Ortiz can hurt you with one punch. I think the interesting part of it is Ortiz, is also vulnerable himself. But I think because of punching power, this is a very dangerous fight. But I also think punching power is what people want to see right now. I mean, part of what made the fight, the card, so amazing last weekend was you had competitive fights off the TV where guys were getting knocked up and down. And then you hit the Lee fight where Lee was getting pummeled, and then Lee knocks him down and knocks him out. And then you have Sergio knock a guy down that's never, as an amateur or a pro, ever been down. As an amateur or pro, he's 37 years old, get knocked down 5 times. People want to see power on power. That's what they really want to see. This is not the age for the retreat, jog backwards guy. That's why I think Mike Jones is a hell of a fighter. But fighting Soto Carras and backing up for 12 rounds in his last fight, not a great endorsement for Aram to be screaming for him to be in the highest stage. That being said, if we beat Ortiz, God willing, and they want us to fight Mike Jones next, I have no worry about that fight.
You think HBO is kind of setting them up on a collision course? I think Mike's coming back May 28th.
Yeah, I think they're setting them up. That's fine by me, because we need people to fight, because God knows we're not getting,
And that's a fight in Atlantic City,
That's a great fight in Atlantic City, and we have no problem with fighting Mike Jones. None.